Hey, welcome to Soul Whispers Tarot. I'm Karen and I'm here again with another pick a card reading. This is a really powerful reading, really powerful messages are going to come out. I can really feel it. I'm feeling really drawn to do this reading, which is, why did this person leave you? Why did they walk away? So we're going to be looking really in depth in this reading, and we have 4 sets of cards. Set of cards number 1 is the orange selenite sphere. Set of cards number 2 is the amber. Set of cards number 3 is the amethyst sphere, and set of cards number 4 is the cerise pink cluster crystal. So I hope that you're doing well, and I really hope that this reading offers you deep insights and really helps you with your healing and understanding. So I'll give you a few moments to tune into the energies of the cards, and it's perfectly fine to feel drawn to more than one set of cards. Okay, so let's get into the reading. Okay, so this is set of cards number 1, which is the amber, and this is the gilded tarot. So why did this person leave? Why did they walk away? So we have some of these cards here, which I've created. I'm actually going to be making them into a actual deck at the printers. You saw me as the bad guy. That pissed me off and I rebelled by doing what you expected me to do. Okay, so we start off with a really powerful message there. I was so scared you would reject the real me and leave me, so I put on a mask and felt I could never take it off again. My attempts to impress you and keep you with me got out of hand. I dug myself into a hole I couldn't get myself out of. The way you've been taught how to love men is all wrong. I need to be shown love in a different way. I couldn't live up to a fantasy, so I ran away to be with someone who was a little more realistic of my capabilities. Okay. And you have the 8 of Wands in reverse, the 3 of Wands in reverse, the 3 of Swords, the 9 of Swords, the Fool in reverse, the 2 of Swords. Move these along. The 6 of Cups, the Devil, the Page of Wands, the 7 of Cups. Okay, so why did this person leave? So there's definitely a sense that this person has felt hurt, as though they feel that you weren't seeing the real them. You perhaps have been really hurt in the past. Perhaps you'd experienced people using and abusing you, or players or something like that. They feel as though you are tarring them with the same kind of brush. And some of you may be saying, well, they proved that to me through their actions, but there's definitely a sense of them picking up that you saw them in a negative light deep down. But some of you were giving and giving and giving to this person still. So they were like thinking, why is she still giving to me? Why is she still being open-hearted and kind and nurturing and investing in me and this relationship if I haven't done much to reciprocate that, or if I've hurt her, or if I've, not really been there for her, or if I chose someone else. So for some of them, they're really feeling as though you weren't loving yourself enough. And, this is about an energetic dynamic. If you're not in a place of self-love, if you're not in alignment with that love vibration, then you cannot align with love on the outside. You cannot give or receive love. So there was this misalignment energetically is what I'm feeling. And they just wondered, they felt as though they hadn't done enough in order to like earn your love, sort of thing. Or they feel as though they hurt you or they mistreated you. And so they were thinking to themselves that you weren't in a place of self-love. They were thinking that you were in love with their potential, or you had some childhood wounds or inner child wounds that you were subconsciously trying to heal, like you were trying to prove something to yourself subconsciously by getting this person to turn around and commit to you. So they felt as though you were in love with their fantasy, or a fantasy that you projected onto them, because they felt like in real life what they'd done wasn't good enough. I was so scared that you would reject the real me and leave me, so I put on a mask and felt I could never take it off again. So this person picked up on some projections that you had, some expectations also that you had, and so there is this sense that they put a mask on. They were trying to blind you from the real them. They were trying to live up to these expectations in certain ways. They may have been acting foolishly with a fool in reverse. They couldn't really take a leap of faith because they did feel as though if they got too close to you, it would burst that bubble and you'd see the real them, and you may not be happy with the real them. They felt as though you hadn't fully accepted that they weren't fully available to you, either emotionally or physically or both. And so they knew that you hadn't been honest with yourself about that. And so they were hoping that they could wear masks. They were hoping they could impress you or keep you attached to them in some kind of way so that eventually it would work out between you. But the more that they were wearing a mask, the more it was creating this divide. But I feel like this is where you're mirroring each other. You may have been wearing masks as well because you felt as though this person was rejecting you. And so you may have been giving and giving and giving and wearing masks, trying to mold yourself to be what you want this other person to be. With this Two of Swords, there's definitely a sense that both of you were not being honest with yourselves. There may have been fantasies projected into this connection, i.e. you may have been talking about the future, you may have been both daydreaming about each other, which is what I'm feeling because there is this Two of Wands here. This is daydreaming about each other from afar. This is, I feel there's this opposition, like opposing energies within your connection. Like both of you wanted union. Both of you wanted this reconciliation. You both feel as though you're soulmates or twin flames or something significant, like in terms of the soul connection. And you both wanted the relationship on one hand, but then on the other hand, there's all this subconscious fears. There's this devil energy. There's this not feeling good enough. You both had this fear of abandonment and rejection is what I'm feeling. So this person felt like you weren't in love with the real them. And so indirectly, they felt rejected because you weren't being realistic about who they are or who they were. And so they felt like you were blinded. They felt like you couldn't see beyond those projections. And they were worried that once you did awaken, once you did realize who they truly were, they were worried that there would be a tower moment, you would reject them. So that fear was what was holding them back. But also I do feel it's mirrored. I feel like you were wearing masks. You were projecting a certain image or portrayal of yourself to this person, which wasn't fully realistic. So there's this sense of the connection wasn't fully grounding. You both wanted it to ground, but you both had fears of it creating a tower moment if you got too close, if things got too real. And so this core wound was, the need to learn to love self. Like this person was basing their sense of self-worth on how you were perceiving them, whether you were accepting them or whether you were rejecting them. And I feel like this was your core wound and fear as well. It was this karma that was going on, fears that this person wasn't going to accept the real you, so you wearing masks and all things like that. There was this devil energy. This is saying your connection had a lot of this fear and wounds and shadow side, the karma that needed to come up to be healed. The reason why this person left was because your connection was going in some kind of circle, some kind of karmic cycle. There may have been an unhealthy dynamic where you were both holding on to each other in some kind of way, i.e. there may have been codependency, but at the same time a fear of things becoming too real. I feel as though both of you may have been totally convinced in your minds that you both really wanted this, and you may have both even worked hard to ground things and get things off the ground between you both. But then there was this opposing force deep down, the fear, and basically the misalignment, not loving yourselves, being more in alignment with the fears, feeling like everything's personal, feeling like everything's a life or death situation. So a fear vibration, not knowing your own worth within both of you. And so that was what was the energy that was blocking you. It was meaning you couldn't align with love. You couldn't align with harmony with each other because you didn't feel harmony within yourselves as individuals. You felt all over the place emotionally. So that was what was creating blocks with the 8 of Wands in reverse. You both wanted this rapid movement forward. 3 of Wands in reverse. You're both waiting for this alignment. You're both waiting for the time where things could be more harmonious, when the ship could come in, you could board that ship, you could get this relationship off the ground. But there's a sense that this person walked away because they became really disheartened as well. And they felt like they couldn't wait any longer. They felt as though if they were waiting, they'd be waiting forever. And it's because there was this codependent dynamic here, is what I'm picking up on. And so you were holding on to each other in a certain way, but you weren't fully coming together. You weren't fully aligning, because it's like you were coming together partially, but through the comfort zone. Like neither of you knew how to take that leap of faith out of the comfort zone. Neither of you were fully venturing out of that comfort zone. And so there was this energy of you staying put where you were, but then just daydreaming about each other from afar. And it couldn't go on like that. So another reason why this person walked away is because it was part of the soul contract. You know, the universe couldn't have you both staying in this stagnant vibration, going around in circles. They couldn't keep you in this codependent kind of energy. So it's almost like your biggest fears came true, and there was a tower moment to make you go your separate ways. But that's what got you out of stagnation. For many of you, that's what made you be honest with yourself. For many of you, that's what made you face your biggest fears in order to heal that heartbreak. For you to know your own worth. For you to realize that perhaps you were projecting some childhood wounds into this relationship and all things like that. My attempts to impress you and keep you with me got out of hand. I dug myself into a hole I couldn't get myself out of. So yeah, this person was wearing a lot of masks. They tried to live up to your unrealistic expectations. And you know, they may have had some unrealistic expectations of you as well. But yeah, this person tried to impress you. They may have felt as though they couldn't get too close to you because then that would sort of, what's the word? That would break their cover. That would, you know, burst the bubble of the illusion they were creating when they were trying to mold themselves to be what they thought you wanted them to be. So it's really kind of ironic in a sense. They really wanted to be close to you. They wanted this reconciliation. And some of them may still want this, but there was a lot of fears, a lot of sleepless nights, because they just really feared that the real them was not magnificent enough, was not fantastical enough, wasn't in alignment with that fantasy that you may have had of them. And so they were really worried, like they wanted to take a leap of faith. They wanted to make things work with you, but they were just petrified of losing you. And so in order to keep you in their life in some kind of way, they chose this devil energy, which in the traditional tarot shows the two lovers chained to the devil. So it's about a relationship. It's like an unbreakable bond, but it's a lot of shadow, a lot of fear, a relationship based on fear, an attachment, and codependency because of those fears. And so subconsciously it may, your connection may have just fallen into this kind of energy of codependency and fear. But in a way, it's like you both felt as though at least we have each other in some way in this dynamic. There was a fear of breaking free of the attachment, the codependency, because there was a fear that your relationship would completely, dissolve. The bonds would completely dissolve. And so deep down, the thing that was blocking you both was a part of you wanting to hold on to each other in that codependent way, because you felt, well, at least we have each other in some kind of way. The way you've been taught how to love men, or it could be women, is all wrong. I need to be shown love in a different way. So this is all about, this person felt as though you were loving them in the way that you wanted to be loved. You may have been very nurturing. You may have been very compassionate, very kind, very considerate, very patient. You may have been doing a lot of things to make this relationship work. And in your eyes, that may have been a very loving thing to do. You may have felt as though that was ensuring the connection wouldn't ever fall apart. You felt as though the more that you did, the more it would kind of bind you together, kind of thing. The more that you did, the more that you gave, the more this person would feel as though you're the one for them. You're trying to prove yourself too much. But all that over-giving, you may have felt that was a very loving thing to do, but indirectly or subconsciously, it was making this person feel rejected because they felt as though you were putting in all the work because you didn't trust that they were capable of really being there for you. They thought you didn't really see them as being capable of being a good provider. And they really wanted to be a good provider. They really want, that's a really deep emotional need. And some of you may be saying, well, why didn't they give more then? It's because they didn't feel that they had anything more to give. I feel as though this person was in a place of, low self-esteem. They didn't feel like they had much to give you. And if you were giving and giving and giving, then they, that kind of highlighted to them even more that they felt they didn't have much to give you in return. And they felt as though you didn't really believe in their capabilities, so that's why you did all the work and that you played their role for them, sort of thing. And that made them feel emasculated in certain ways as well. You saw me as the bad guy. That pissed me off, and I rebelled by doing what you expected me to do. So they may have felt a bit controlled by you. If you were putting in all this work, if you felt as though you knew what was best for this person, if you felt like you knew what this person should be doing, and if you were giving and giving and giving to kind of give this person the hint that they should be giving back to you in that kind of way, they felt as though you were running away with the connection, that you were trying to force things. And they felt as though perhaps you didn't really know what their true needs were, and that maybe you weren't as bothered about their true needs rather than, having your own needs met, kind of thing. And so they felt annoyed by that. They felt, you know, whatever we chase runs away from us. You know, whatever we try to force resists us. You know, they were in resistance because they felt like you were trying to take charge, is what I'm feeling. And, you know, that can create a lot of confusion. I don't know if any of you have experienced it the other way around, when someone's trying to force you into a relationship, or someone else is much more sure that they want to be with you, and they're like really eager, and they may be getting annoyed at you if you're not doing what they want you to do, kind of thing. And, you know, they're not giving you any time or space to really decide for yourself if you genuinely want to be with this person. And because they keep giving and doing and expecting and trying to push you or pull you in, you're thinking, do I genuinely really want to be with this person? Or is it just because I'm feeling pressured that I feel like I should say yes? And that can keep you stuck in a place of confusion and not really knowing how you genuinely feel. So that may also have contributed to some of you of this person being on the fence and not knowing what to do. There is a sense that this person chose someone else. I couldn't live up to a fantasy, so I ran away to be with someone who was a little more realistic of my capabilities. So they may have needed to make a choice and they didn't know what to do. Three of Swords could be a third-party situation. And the Seven of Cups is about options as well. They may have felt like things just weren't working out between you. They may have felt like it was too much of a mountain to climb in order to overcome the obstacles, especially if they felt as though you had all these high expectations of them that they felt like they couldn't meet or they couldn't live up to. So they may have got really disheartened, and someone else may have come along where it just seemed much more easier. It just kind of happened like that, like really easily. And they may have just felt like there wasn't all this pressure on them in that other relationship. So I really hope that this reading has resonated with you. I really hope that it's offered you a lot of insights and clarity and helped you to see things in a way in which you hadn't seen them before or hadn't understood before. So if it has resonated with you and if it's been helpful, then please like, share and subscribe. It really helps me to grow my channel. And if you do subscribe, please tap the bell icon and that will notify you every time I release a new reading. If you would like additional readings every single week, then please sign up to those by clicking the link below this video. And also check out all my other videos, because I have tons on here about what's going on within your connection, how this person's feeling, will you be together, and all things like that. So go check those out. And thank you so much. So this is set of cards number 2, which is the Unicorn Point Crystal. And you have the Tarot of the New Vision. And also I have these cards which I've created here. So why did this person leave? Why did they walk away? So you have, I wanted to do all these wonderful things for you, but then you started to expect it. It made me feel taken for granted. You thought I wasn't being my real self with you. Look in the mirror. You were shutting me off with your masks too. We are mirrors. We both tried to chase emotionally unavailable people to heal our abandonment wounds. So that could be, you know, you're both trying to chase each other, but there was emotional unavailability going on here. If my true needs were being met, then I'd be with you. Something was missing. I know you're trying your best, but your ways of trying to show me love have actually made me feel rejected. And you have the Three of Pentacles in reverse. the Devil in reverse, the World, the Nine of Swords, the Six of Wands, the Ace of Cups in reverse, the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, the Seven of Cups in reverse, the Queen of Swords in reverse, and the Eight of Cups in reverse. So why did this person walk away? With this Eight of Cups in reverse, I'm really feeling as though they didn't want to walk away, but they felt like they had to. Okay, so I wanted to do all these wonderful things for you, but then you started to expect it. It made me feel taken for granted. So definitely an element of this person feeling unappreciated. I feel like that definitely contributed to them walking away. They may have felt as though, I don't know, like some of you may feel as though this is your soulmate or your twin flame. So it may have given you over time this kind of expectation that you would always end up together somehow. Perhaps this person felt as though you weren't putting your best foot forward anymore, or you were taking the relationship for granted. If you felt as though it was guaranteed that you're going to be together, you may have, not put as much work in or something like that. Some kind of stagnation may have started happening here. Because there's a Three of Pentacles in reverse as well. This is like a lack of cooperation. Some of you may not have even consciously realized that you weren't cooperating with this person. I feel like some of you felt emotionally burnt out in this connection. And so, you needed a breather. You needed to take a step back. You needed a rest. You needed to rejuvenate your energies. And this person may have felt that meant you no longer cared, or they just felt like you weren't putting in as much effort or something like that. You may have burnt yourself out because in the past you were putting in a lot of effort and you were really wanting them to invest equally in the connection. But perhaps this person couldn't invest equally, and so when you stopped investing, perhaps then it did just kind of drift away. You thought I wasn't being my real self with you. Look in the mirror. You were shutting me off with your masks too. So I feel this contributes to this energy of a lack of cooperation. They felt like you weren't being honest with them. They felt like you weren't being upfront. And this could have literally just been wearing masks. Like you may have tried to impress them. You may have given and given and given because you're trying to prove your worthiness. You're trying to convince them to commit to you. You may have not have felt good enough, and so you're trying to prove your worth. But this person really just needed you to know your worth. They really needed you to love yourself. And again, I feel like many of you are going to be thinking that what I'm saying is more about how they were and what you wanted from them, but this person felt the same way for you, whether you realized it or not. I feel like some of you didn't realize just how much you were mirroring each other in this way. So this is about an energetic dynamic. I feel like neither of you were fully in the vibration of self-love. Neither of you were aligned with the love vibration. And so you couldn't, give and receive love with each other. You couldn't align with each other in a harmonious way. Because there is the Devil in reverse as well. I feel like a Tower moment happened because you were holding on to each other in a codependent way. Like neither of you are fully being honest. There is the Seven of Cups in reverse here. This is about illusion and confusion. So there could have been fantasies projected into this connection. And by that I mean you both had intense fears of rejection is what I'm feeling. And so you may have worn masks, you may have tried, because this is a card where this person wants to be looked up to. You may have both, tried to impress the other, but it meant you weren't being true to yourselves. Like, I feel that a lot of you have had a really deep, like, soul connection with this person. Like, it felt electric, it felt magnetic, it felt heavenly, it felt so exciting. And I feel like both of you may have got carried away with that and it became ungrounded. There may have been a 5D kind of element going on here where you connected to this person telepathically. You felt each other's emotions. You knew what each other was thinking at any given moment, but there was like a physical separation. And I feel like both of you were just so in awe of this energy, in awe of this connection. Like, I feel perhaps this was part of the soul contract where you were supposed to have this connection from afar, but because you felt so connected in the 5D through telepathy, it was making you feel more connected to your soul. It was making you feel more connected to your soul family, the universe, the divine. And I feel like this was part of the contract to keep you awakening, to help you both align with your true soul identity, because we are infinite souls who incarnate here to have a temporary human experience. And when we incarnate, we have amnesia. So for a long time we believe who we are is this human being in this current lifetime. We think who we are is determined by our job, our relationship status, whether we think we're a good person or a bad person, what people have, the feedback we've received from other people, other people's opinions of us. We collect all this data, all this information together, and we think that that is who we are. But it's not. That's an illusion. Who we truly are is our soul identity that incarnates many, many times. It's the infinite essence of who we are in all lifetimes and, beyond the 3D. And so I feel one of the main reasons why you weren't coming together with this person, why the connection wasn't grounding in the 3D, is because you had this really powerful soul contract where things weren't supposed to be grounded. You were supposed to, explore these other dimensions that this connection lifted you up into. Exploring who you truly are. And this was helping you to align with your true soul self. And this is what helps, with awakening, with healing wounds, with knowing your true worth. It helps us to release the stories that the ego or the false identity creates about ourselves. Taking everything personally. This person rejected me because I'm unlovable. That's just a story. You met each other in order to lift you up, raise you both up into your true consciousness. And so this felt magical to you both. This felt heavenly. It was like heaven on earth. But then, because we're humans, and this is partially, one of the main factors of this awakening is that the breaking down of the ego, the false identity, the illusion, the illusory perspective of self, which isn't real. It breaks that down, breaks the ego identity down. And so, part of this connection that you had with each other, part of this involved, projecting fantasies onto the connection. There was a lot of reality here. Your connection is real. You connected with your true selves. You connected with the divine. You become more You became more aware of reality, but also there was this element of the ego being uplifted, or the ego being boosted, the illusions being built up even more, like the fantasy elements, and by that I mean, you know, holding on to each other, but always thinking of the future, maybe even talking to each other about the future, like in the future we're going to be together, but you know, there was fears of doing that right now, or you know, more accurately, there was still this ego illusion going on, which meant you were out of alignment and couldn't align, you couldn't ground fully. And so it built up this realization of your true selves, but it also built up the illusions. It built up the ego. And that was building and building and building and building and building within your connection, so then it could fully crash down. A really tough lesson here. You know, the masks, they had to crumble. This idea that I've got to pretend that I'm someone else to be lovable, to be accepted, to be loved, for this person to commit to me. You know, those illusions were being built up and built up and built up, because you both felt as though the masks were making your connection solid, but it was blocking the true alignment on this soul level, the true inner union with knowing who you truly are, therefore knowing your true worth. You know, everything was heightened, everything was built up so that the illusions could be broken down eventually. But then you'd already created this firm foundation through this connection, building up your true self. So I hope this is making sense. Like, there was a lot of truth in this connection beyond what either of you had ever known before. This soul awakening. And equally, because we are on a planet of duality, those illusions, the ego was being boosted by this connection. Illusions, masks, the deception kind of energy, how we deceive ourselves, how we deceive each other in order to try and feel some kind of safety. That came crashing down. But you were strong, because along the way you had become very solid, very secure within this spiritual truth. So that was a really intense channeled message there, but some of you may have just felt like it was this other person who wasn't being their true self. They were wearing a mask. You felt that they were worrying too much about their appearance, like what you thought of them or what other people thought of them. They wanted other people to boost their ego. They wanted you to boost their ego. They became codependent upon you to build up that ego for them. And then it came crashing down, so they'd have to create their own self-esteem. And the same happened for you. So the reason why this person left is because it's all part of this soul contract. It wasn't just, oh, they decided to leave for, you know, no reason, or the main reason is this soul contract. This was supposed to happen to break down illusions, to make you both create your own self-worth in a really powerful way, helping you both, because you're both chained to each other through codependency, through fear, through illusions, but also there was, you know, the unbreakable bond, the truth. So this is why the devil's in reverse. The main reason for this tower moment, for them walking away, was in order to break those chains of codependency, so that you can have this alignment within yourselves and alignment with each other in the true form, in the soul form, without the illusions, without the fears, basically. And look, the world, the conclusion of this is, you know, you're no longer chained to each other. There's this freedom here, liberation. You know, this was a major karmic lesson. Doesn't mean it was just a karmic relationship, but you had a lot of lessons to heal and face to do with your biggest fears coming true. You know, deep down this person was in a lot of fear, a lot of insecurity, not feeling good enough about themselves, thinking about the worst case scenarios. They were really worried that your connection was going to break down. And so, you know, this is what the energy they were in when they're all by themselves. This is how they really felt. But when they were out in public, they were making out that they were much more confident. They're much more happy. You know, some of them, you know, even though it sounds immature, they may have tried to, you know, show you how attractive they are to other people because they felt like that would, you know, boost their image and make them more attractive in your eyes. You know, they were trying to prove that to themselves because they didn't feel attractive or they didn't feel good enough. So wearing a mask, maybe withholding their emotions, how they truly felt, because they were trying to appear confident and strong. But yeah, the Ace of Cups in reverse, it's a lack of self-love within both of you, not being able to give or receive love fully, because there was a lack of peace within your own individual hearts. So that was what was manifesting between you. Disharmony within and disharmony within your connection. Pentacles in reverse. Seven of Pentacles in reverse. So this to me was impatience. Perhaps this person felt as though things weren't going to ground. They felt as though things weren't going to work out. They felt like it was all this illusion and it wasn't going to become something real. Some of you, it could have been that you felt that way with the Queen of Swords in reverse. You may have got annoyed at this person. You may try to force things along. This person didn't want to walk away, but they felt like they had to. With that Eight of Cups in reverse. Also, this Seven of Pentacles, it's saying that both of you were investing a lot within this connection. You were trying to sow the seeds. You were trying to make things work, but it's like you were doing it in the illusion kind of way, in a codependent kind of way, which was actually creating blocks. So there needed to be a rebirth, basically, and that's what this Tower moment represented. Forcing you both to let go of the codependent connection, so that you could align more with the soul truth. And it's like the unconditional love now is much more, you're aligned much more with that unconditional love for yourselves and for each other, because of releasing expectations, fears, codependencies, releasing the fantasy, being much more honest with yourselves. So the connection can become much more honest, much more grounded. We are mirrors. We both tried to chase emotionally unavailable people to heal our abandonment wounds. So this person was emotionally unavailable because they weren't loving themselves. But this is saying that you're mirrors and you weren't loving yourself, so you were emotionally unavailable to them as well. Anytime anyone's wearing a mask, it means they're unavailable. They're hiding behind that mask. They're hiding behind the walls. And I feel like you're both doing that. So you were both emotionally unavailable. So you were both chasing each other by trying to appear to be something that really you didn't feel like you were. Trying to appear much more confident or much more powerful, much more stable than what you really felt. This could mean that for some of you, this person chased someone else. Like if you were giving and giving and giving and you were always there for this person, they may have had like childhood wounds of, you know, feeling abandoned and rejected. So they may have chased someone else who was running away from them because it was subconsciously their inner child trying to get someone emotionally unavailable to love them. So if you were too available to them on a certain level, you know, and you were offering everything to them on a plate kind of thing, there was still subconscious part of their inner child that was trying to chase someone emotionally unavailable. So that, you know, that may have been someone else they started chasing. And that may have really upset some of you, because you may have seen this other person was using and abusing this person, but this was them trying to subconsciously work out this whole need to love self and not basing sense of self-worth on someone else, his opinion of them. If my true needs were being met, then I'd be with you. Something was missing. So this is really saying that you didn't fully understand this person's needs, or because I know you were trying your best, but your ways of trying to show me love have actually made me feel rejected. So yeah, if you were giving and giving and giving and chasing this person, then they felt as though you didn't really trust that they had the capability to truly be there for you. You felt that they weren't capable of putting in the real work, or being an equal in the relationship, and so that's why you were putting in all the work. And then they felt that that was an indirect rejection because you thought that they were incompetent, or you weren't accepting what they could offer you because you felt like they should be offering you more. And they felt like they couldn't live up to that, and they felt like you were in love with a fantasy that you projected onto them, or you were in love with their potential, but not what they were actually giving you, or not who they actually were in that moment. And so that's also why they walked away. They may have, you know, just felt that you're not really letting them get close to you because you're being unrealistic about what they can do for you, or what they were giving to you. So yeah, just this deeper sense of their real needs weren't being met. I feel like this person needs to feel that they are looked up to, that what they give is enough. They may have, you know, some of them may have met someone else where they felt that those needs were being met. And you know, you may have seen this person giving more and being an equal in that relationship with the other person, but they weren't with you. And a lot of it was to do with the sheer intensity of your connection as well. And, you know, the emotional upheaval, feeling emotionally all over the place because of the awakening, because of the breaking down of the ego. And so, you know, it's not easy to be harmonious when all that intense life lessons are happening. So I really hope this reading has resonated with you and that it's been helpful. And if it has, then please like, share and subscribe. It really helps me to grow my channel. If you do subscribe, please tap the bell icon and that will notify you every time I release a new reading. And if you would like additional readings every single week, which are exclusive to my email subscribers, then please sign up to those below by clicking on the link. And also please check out my other readings. I have loads on YouTube of what's going on within your connection, how they're feeling, if you'll be together, and all things like that. So those can really help you out with your connection as well. So go check those out, and thank you so much. So this is set of cards number 3, which is the Cerise Pink Cluster Crystal. And you have the Rider-Waite Tarot, but also some cards that I made myself. So why did this person leave? Why did this person walk away from your connection? You were living in a bubble of protection. I'm sorry I hurt you when I burst that bubble, but it had to be done. So to me, that's talking about an intense soul contract there. I didn't reject you. I literally couldn't align with you when you expected me to heal your inner child wounds. I can't be a substitute parent. I can't heal your inner child wounds. Don't make me responsible for that. It's not fair. I want us to be together, but we can't be as long as you insist it was all just my fault. You centered your whole world around me and our union. No one could ever live up to that pressure. Okay, so you have the Seven of Cups, which has come up in the set of cards number 1 and set of cards number 2 as well. The Ace of Swords in reverse. The Ten of Cups. The Five of Cups. The Ten of Swords. The Ace of Wands. The Knight of Wands. The Lovers. The Knight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords in reverse. So yeah, to me this is definitely part of the soul contract, that there was a tower moment between you. It's to do with this mirroring, and it's to do with the alignment or misalignment of your energies. So inner child wounds were going on within both of you. I feel like when you met this person, you both had abandonment and rejection wounds. Ten of Swords. This is a card of feeling stabbed in the back. Five of Cups as well. A lot of loss in your past, of feeling as though things hadn't worked out in the way you wanted, perhaps in previous relationships. Feelings of rejection. Feelings of rejection in childhood as well. So I didn't reject you. I literally couldn't align with you when you expected me to heal your inner child wounds. So to me, this person felt as though you were looking to them to prove that you're lovable. So you may have had a lot of codependency on this person. And I feel like for many of you, this was, mirrored, like this person had the same wounds, and therefore they were very codependent upon you as well and your opinion of them. So it's about that energetic alignment, because you hadn't healed the inner child wounds at that time, and we all go through this, because you weren't in a place of knowing your worth and knowing that you are lovable just because you're born. You're automatically lovable, good enough, just the way you are right now, because on a subconscious level, a part of you didn't realize that about yourself, and you may have experienced a lot of rejection in your life. You were subconsciously looking to this person to heal those wounds. So this person may have been emotionally unavailable, but you were looking to them to turn around and commit to you in order to feel that you are lovable after all. And some of you may have put in so much work, so much time and effort, and done so many things to try and get this person to commit to you. You may have chased this person. You may have overgiven to this person, and you felt like this person just walked away, or this person stabbed you in the back. This person didn't commit to you. But what I'm sensing is they felt that you weren't in a place of self-love. You didn't know your worth. So, whatever we believe about ourselves is what we manifest. So this person may have not recognized your worth because you didn't recognize it within yourself. Or you may have indirectly taught this person to treat you with disrespect because you had no boundaries. And this person was afraid of this spiritual awakening that was happening within your connection. The spiritual awakening calls us out of our comfort zone. But it can seem very threatening to the ego, because it's about breaking down the ego, the fears. Facing the fears of abandonment, rejection, facing our wounds, looking inwards, taking responsibility for our own emotional well-being. All of those things are very difficult. And this is what this connection was calling you both to do. It was calling this person to step into this difficult path of healing, because it means all of the wounds are triggered up. And this person, and even you, subconsciously wanted to avoid that pain because, we believe the pain's gonna destroy us. But, when we experience a lot of emotional pain, it does eventually break down the ego. And so, the ego fears that destruction. It makes us think that we can't cope with this emotional pain, and so we try to avoid it. But it is that emotional pain that awakens us. It breaks down everything that's blocking us. But your connection was calling this person into that awakening, into this uncomfortable transition, into deeper ascension. And so this is why this person was in resistance to you. And it's funny, but it's like you've been in this energy as well of feeling that your worth is dependent on other people's opinions of you, whether you realized it or not. And so this has been such a powerful connection. It's really magnetically drawn you in. It's really, brought up, triggered tons of these wounds within you of not feeling good enough. But that's because it was meant to do that, because the tower, it's a blessing in disguise. It's a breaking down of the ego, breaking down of the stories. So some of you have learned really, really important, really valuable lessons within this connection. This person walked away. You may have once and for all learnt your self-worth. You may have learnt the lesson that you don't have to give and give and give in order to prove your worth. Some of you have realized that you're good enough just the way you are, and that you deserve an equal, balanced relationship. And so that was a major lesson for many of you, and that is why this person left, in order for you to finally realize that. Because you may have had a pattern of, overgiving and seeking that love from emotionally unavailable people. You may have had a pattern through several kind of relationships and experiences with that kind of thing. You may have finally, grasped that lesson and had that realization that completely uplifts you, changes your vibration so that you're in a place of self-love, self-worth. You're in alignment with the love vibration, and that is what's going to attract this happy relationship into your life, whether it's with this person or with someone else. But you basically learn how to be happy and peaceful and in the love vibration within yourself as an individual. So this person didn't really reject you. It was part of the soul contract. They came into your life because your souls know each other on a higher dimension. And you had this agreement that this person was going to make you feel stabbed in the back. But this is a 10, which is about a rebirth. It's an ending of this old cycle, this old pattern that you've had throughout your life, so you can rise up into a new vibration, put a stop to that cycle, and build your life in a place of truth, knowing your worth. I can't be a substitute parent. I can't heal your inner child wounds. Don't make me responsible for that. It's not fair. So there may have been a lot of projection subconsciously onto this person. You may have wanted them to love you in all the ways other people didn't love you, or love you in all the ways you felt your parents didn't love you. But you subconsciously, you were wanting this person to love you in all the ways that you needed to love yourself. So to help you do that, some of you could possibly write a list of all the ways that you felt hurt by this person, by other people, by your parents. And then you could write another column next to that with all the ways you wanted to be loved or needed to be loved, or how you wanted people to treat you, what you wanted to happen. And then in the third column, that's where you realize all those things you wanted from other people. You write down how you can give those things to yourself. So for some of you, that's going to be a really powerful exercise that's going to change your vibration, so you know your worth, and then you attract people who know your worth as well. So yeah, this may have been a major realization for some of you, that you were subconsciously chasing someone emotionally unavailable because of childhood wounds. And some of you have, gone through that deep inner healing and awakening. I want us to be together, but we can't be as long as you insist it was all just my fault. So yeah, if you believe that it was just this person rejected you because they didn't love you and it means you're not good enough, and they were immature, or they weren't emotionally available, or they did this, that, or the other, which was really hurtful or wrong, or there was a lot of injustice. Basically, this energy is about, if you believe it's all about them, but you're not asking yourself, why did I attract this into my life? Why did I align with this kind of dynamic where this happened to me? There's this need for you to look inwards and see why you aligned with that experience. Because, this connection is almost like a messenger. This person came into your life to show you your own vibration. Because whatever, manifests in your life, whatever happens, it is a reflection of your own vibration. So what is this experience telling you about your own vibration and what you need to heal within? You centered your whole world around me and our union. No one could ever live up to that pressure. So for these messages, to me, they're all kind of similar. They're all kind of pointing to the same thing. You may have centered your world around this person and the union, because you believed you needed this person. You believed you needed this love to be proved to you outside of yourself from someone else in order to feel good enough. And so it became this life or death situation. It became really intense. You felt like you really needed this, and that energy of need, that belief in need, is the vibration of fear. It's a belief that you don't have what you need within yourself, and you have to grab a hold of it from outside of yourself. So it's a belief in lack. And whatever we believe is what we receive. Whatever we believe is what we manifest. So if you are believing in lack and you are trying to grab a hold of it, then that lack is what you are manifesting more of. You are seeing more of this lack. You are seeing more of this person running away. So this is saying you need to, not center your world around this person or anyone else. Like, don't believe that your sense of worth is dependent upon anyone else. No one outside of yourself has any authority, whether they tell you themselves or whether you believe within yourself that this person has the authority to determine whether you're good enough. No one outside of yourself has that authority. It's all down to you. Do you believe in your own worth? So I feel this person walked away because, or your connection just moved apart because, things weren't grounding. You both may have kind of got used to having each other in some kind of dynamic, but it wasn't fully grounded, and therefore a lot of fantasies. There was a lot of time for thinking or overthinking things. And that led to a lot of fantasies and hopes and dreams and things like that. And I feel like it built up to be, because they've put, no one could ever live up to that pressure. So there was a lot of pressure put into this, centering each other's lives around the other person and the relationship, and having so much time to overthink things, and then, think on a deep level, another layer of it being, this person's going to heal all of my childhood wounds, and then you begin to think that that's what that person should do for you, and then it becomes a load of shoulds this person should be doing this, they should be doing that. You think that they owe it to you. And it's all this fear vibration, and it becomes very complicated and messy. And that's why this Tower moment happened. There was a lack of just going with the flow, you know. There was a lot of like intense emotions, an intense soul contract, an intense lesson that had to play out here. Because what your soul feels is more important, or knows is more important, is your own vibration. What you learn from this experience, rather than being together. This, you know, your soul, the universe doesn't want you to be with this person if it means you're going to keep just being codependent and thinking your worth is dependent upon the other person still being there for you. Because that does not bring inner peace. That does not bring enlightenment. It blocks that. So Ace of Swords in reverse. Yeah, this is like a lack of victory. This person wanted to be with you. They wanted to cut the ties to all these complications. They wanted things to become much more easily. They wanted things to flow more easily. Basically, they wanted that alignment to happen naturally, but it just wasn't. Because there was all these thoughts. Swords are about mind and perception. There was all these thoughts. Eight of Swords in reverse that were keeping you both stuck. You know, then you may have been looking at each other's social media and, you know, playing devil's advocate, is that the word? Or Russian roulette, you know. One day you might view something on their social media and it makes you feel really good, really uplifted. Then you may see something that makes you feel more like a Tower moment, or feeling like it's a betrayal. And, you know, everything gets heightened in the mind. The mind overthinks things. It creates like this storm. The mind created this energy of this chaos. And that's what created a Tower moment. But it had to happen. The 10. So this is in reverse. So this Tower moment has led to the breakdown of all that mental chaos. Basically, for some of you, your biggest fear came true. You felt stabbed in the back. You finally had to go through that pain that you were trying to avoid for so long. And when you finally went through the pain, it wasn't as bad as what you thought, and you came out the other side of it. You know, once you face the fears, it dissipates. You're no longer as fearful anymore because the worst case scenario already happened. Some of you may have been holding on for dear life for so long, and when the Tower moment happened, you were just like, sod this, I'm letting go, I can't be bothered anymore. You just felt totally exasperated. But that is what caused you to truly surrender, to let go. And that's when these realizations of your own worth came in. 10 of Cups. For some of you, after believing that there was a loss here, some of you, you know, it was the loss of the ego. It felt like a loss of this relationship. But because it's a deep soul connection, it's infinite. And so some of you have awakened to the true unconditional love, even if that means you're no longer holding out for being with this person in a physical, romantic relationship. You may have realized your own errors. You may have realized your own lessons here. You may have realized that it wasn't just all this person who just was deciding not to commit to you. You're realizing it was so much more than that. You're realizing a lot of the mirroring. And so, yeah, there was a loss, but it's made way for this 10 of Cups and this 2 of Cups. There's the unconditional that's awakened within your connection. In the past, the unconditional love was kept being pushed down and trapped and stuck behind the thoughts, behind the fears, behind the wounds. behind the conditions, the projections, the chaos. You know, you couldn't see clearly. You couldn't align with that unconditional love. You couldn't have that harmony within, or within the connection, or total acceptance, you know, detachment, not holding on to attachments. But, you know, when you faced the biggest fear, things came crashing down. It was everything that was blocking you from realizing this person does truly love you and always has done. And just because it hasn't easily, you know, worked out into a romantic relationship, you're realizing now that it doesn't mean that this person doesn't love you. It doesn't mean that they just chose not to be with you, and that's the reason why this has all happened. You're realizing it was about an energetic dynamic, a deep lesson. So Ace of Wands. These are interesting. Ace of Wands, Knight of Wands, Knight of Swords. So after the Tower moment, some of you, you know, it really changed the dynamic going on here for the better. Some of you basically stopped chasing this person. You no longer need this person in order to feel good enough. You're realizing it wasn't a rejection. It never was. And so for some of you, it's like this person's coming back into your life. There's this rapid alignment for you. There's that 10 of Cups, the 2 of Cups. For some of you, it could be you know your worth. You've gone in a new direction. And then there's these other people, these other love interests that are entering your life or already entered your life. Some of you, there may be a choice, because there's the Lovers as well, needing to make a choice. Because you've changed your vibration. You know your worth. You're much more in self-love. And so you're attracting people who can truly be there for you. Whether it is this same person or whether it's someone new. Some of you are going to need to make a choice with that. So I really hope this reading has resonated with you and that it's been helpful. And if it has, then please like, share and subscribe. It really helps me to grow my channel. And if you do subscribe, please tap the bell icon and that will notify you every time I release a new reading. And if you would like additional readings every single week, which are exclusive to my email subscribers, then please sign up to those by clicking the link below this video. And also check out my other videos. I have tons on here about what this person's feeling, what's going to happen between you, and all things like that. So those can really help you out to understand your connection even more deeply. So go check those out, and thank you so much. So this is Set of Cards number 4, which is the Orange Selenite Sphere. And you have the Tarot Illuminati, as well as some of these messages I've created. So why did this person leave? Why did they walk away from your connection? A fantasy is unrealistic. A grounded reality cannot manifest out of such illusion. It was your choice to become an unhealthy martyr. I don't remember ever agreeing to disrespect myself in the same way. I based my self-worth on how you saw me. I started to feel the real me wasn't good enough, so I wore a mask. Please don't shoot the messenger. Why do you think your needs are more important than mine? So you have the Chariot in reverse. The Lovers in reverse. The 8 of Pentacles in reverse. The 3 of Wands in reverse. The 4 of Wands. The 4 of Cups. The 2 of Pentacles. The 7 of Pentacles in reverse. The 3 of Swords. The 8 of Cups. So, a fantasy is unrealistic. A grounded reality cannot manifest out of such illusion. So, for some of you, there may have been distance between you both, and so there was a lot of time for overthinking things. There may have been some projections going on here. Like, you may have had a past where you felt rejected by family and possibly past relationships as well, and so subconsciously it's like your inner child was looking to this person to turn around and commit and to make you feel lovable and good enough after all. This person may have been emotionally unavailable, but you know, whenever we're attracted to someone emotionally unavailable, it means that we are as well, because subconsciously, if the other person isn't fully there for us, then we don't have to fully show up and be our true selves with them. You know, it creates a safe distance. So there may have been that kind of dynamic going on some kind of level within your connection. So there may have been all this time and distance to think, like overthink things, and you know, really daydream about how you wanted this person to be, who you wanted them to be, how you wanted them to change, how you wanted them to be there for you. And, you know, our subconscious mind doesn't know what is real and what isn't real. So whatever you're thinking about is what your subconscious mind believes is real. So for some of you, when you were daydreaming about this person so much, the subconscious mind may have started to believe that that was what was actually happening within your connection, but the reality may have been really different. Like, in reality, you may not have been together, or you may not even, you know, talk that much to this person, or this person may be disrespecting you, or they were looking in a different direction, they weren't committing to you, or things like that. And so you may have really believed that you were meant to be with this person, but I feel like there was a lot of fantasy going on here, and it wasn't manifesting because that fantasy was like out of touch or out of alignment with the reality of the situation, the reality of what was going on. It was your choice to become an unhealthy martyr. I don't remember ever agreeing to disrespect myself in the same way. So I feel like a lot of you gave and gave and gave to this relationship, especially with this 8 of Pentacles in reverse as well. You're putting in a lot of time and effort into this connection, but in reverse, it's like it wasn't paying off. It wasn't creating a balance, because this is an 8, which is the infinity symbol. So it's like a mirror. But in reverse, it was like it wasn't mirroring back to you. It wasn't being reciprocated back to you, is what I'm feeling. You know, all this effort that you were putting in. And so some of you did become a martyr in terms of totally burning yourself out, feeling like you had to put in so much work just to keep this relationship or this situationship going. You felt like it's like both of you were in a rowing boat, but you were the only one that was rowing. And, you know, you were afraid that if you stopped rowing, then this other person wouldn't start rowing, and so the boat would just stop. Your relationship would just stop. For some of you, that is what happened. This person felt as though you were totally giving up yourself to try and impress them, to try and convince them to commit to you. And this person, you know, wasn't going to do that in return. They didn't want to completely give themselves up or be a martyr to make it work with you, especially if they felt like you were putting in all the work and effort anyway. They felt like they didn't need to put in any time and effort. But I feel like their needs weren't being met in that imbalanced like dynamic either. Like, this person wants to feel like they're a good provider. They want to feel like they're the best version of themselves. You know, they want to feel truly good about themselves in a relationship. But in this kind of dynamic, they felt that as though they weren't going to feel good about themselves. And some of you may think, well, why didn't they just give back equally? Why didn't they give more then in order to feel good enough? And it's because what I'm sensing is they felt that you projected all these fantasies onto them. So they felt like you were setting them up for failure. They felt as though nothing that they would really do in reality would ever match up to that fantasy you'd projected onto them. And so they always felt rejected. And they always felt that if they got close to you, you'd never be truly satisfied with the real them. And so they felt that they would just be rejected. And then that would make them feel that they're not good enough all the time. And I feel like they were already feeling that way. And so some of them, they may have chosen someone else where it just worked out much more easily, or someone where they felt that this other person hadn't put a load of projections onto them. Or I'm getting a sense it just happened quickly with this other person. So there wasn't time for all this build up of pressure, all this overthinking, where these expectations have sort of been born from. I based my self-worth on how you saw me. I started to feel the real me wasn't good enough, so I wore a mask. So yeah, they did feel that they weren't good enough for the reasons I was just talking about. They felt like they couldn't give back to you equally, or they couldn't, they literally couldn't become a fantasy version, because they are who they are, kind of thing. But they tried to, is what I'm feeling. They tried to, because they were afraid of losing you as well. So they felt like they had to, it's like they felt pressured to wear those masks to try and impress you, or try and be what they thought you wanted them to be. But they couldn't live up to that. It wasn't the real them. It wasn't, truthful. And that was creating a block, because this person, they couldn't align with you in any kind of true way if there was all these masks going on, or, this intense fear of you rejecting them. If you were wanting them to give more or be more or do more. Please don't shoot the messenger. So I feel like this was like a really powerful karmic lesson. Your connection wasn't necessarily just a karmic connection, but there was definitely a lot of lessons here, a lot of karma to be realized. So don't shoot the messenger is about you attracted this experience in order to trigger up like heartbreak, abandonment, rejection, or things like that. It was to stir up those wounds within yourself, stir up the stories within yourself, where you were telling yourself, this person's rejected me, and that means I'm not good enough. That's just a story. The messenger, this connection, this person, their soul had this contract with your soul. They agreed to awaken you from that illusion where you were basing your sense of self-worth on them or anyone outside of yourself. No one has that authority to determine whether you're good enough or not. It's all about your own belief. Do you believe you're worthy? Do you believe you're good enough? Because whatever you believe is what you manifest. Whatever you believe is what you receive. And so this is what you were supposed to learn in this connection. And, this is why this person left. This is why this person walked away. In order for you to have that tower moment. In order for you to have that heartbreak and feel abandoned, rejected. To actually make you go through your biggest fears. Your biggest fears in this connection manifesting. But it forced you to go through those wounds rather than continuing to try and avoid them by staying within like the fantasies or, keeping it ungrounded. And for many of you, it was a powerful lesson. It made you realize your worth. You realized how much you've been a giving person, how hard you've worked on these relationships, and possibly relationships in the past as well. Like, it's all culminated together to make you realize that you do deserve someone that's going to give back to you equally. You do deserve a happy relationship. You do deserve to know your own worth and have someone know your worth in return as well. Some of you realized through this Tower moment how perhaps you weren't fully like being fair on this other person either. And you're realizing it wasn't personal because you're realizing your own contribution to having these projections that they couldn't live up to and things like that. And for some of you, that's helped you to heal past experiences as well, where you just felt like it was the other person just rejecting you. You're realizing the mirror dynamic here in this pattern that you've been going through. Why do you think your needs are more important than mine? So you may have been giving and giving and giving. Like a part of you may have been telling yourself, I'm giving because I'm such a caring, kind, compassionate person. And I'm not saying that you're not, but I do feel that there was an ulterior motive for many of you, like deep down, where you're giving so much because you're wanting that in return. Or you were wanting the relationship to go in a certain direction because, you know, you felt like you needed something on the outside to change in order for you to feel good within yourself, sort of thing. But I feel like that was trying to push things in a certain direction which weren't meeting this other person's needs. Like if you were trying to push things, force things, put in all the work, tell this person what he or she should be doing, you know, this wasn't allowing the person time to grow on their own. It was trying to steer things in the way you wanted things to go, but that may not have been what was going to help them to grow on a soul level. So the Chariot in reverse, I feel like both of you tried to force things to come into harmony with the Lovers in reverse. There was a lot of disharmony. The Chariot in reverse is about imbalance as well. So there's kind of like this rash energy, impulsive energy. Perhaps you both tried to make things work, but there was a lot of chaos going on within. This person was wearing masks because in that sense they were trying to impress you as well. And they were trying to work hard to be impressive as well. So you were both kind of doing the same things. But it was continuing to put time and effort and energy into things that weren't working. A lack of harmony within equals a lack of harmony on the outside, you know, within the connection. This person felt like it wasn't working out. They felt like they put in so much time and energy and effort, but things were just continuing to be in disharmony. There was blocks on the path. And so they gave up waiting, basically. You may have felt like you were the only one waiting, or you were the only one putting in the work and effort, but this person was in their own way as well. And they just felt that if they waited, then they'd be waiting forever because there was this unhealthy dynamic going on in repeat. So they needed to walk away in order to change the energies, in order to disrupt that pattern, disrupt that cycle, break things down. Some of them may have chosen someone else because it just felt like there was more harmony, or it just happened much more easily. There wasn't all these complications. But their heart, you know, still resides with you, is what I'm feeling. They feel this deep love for you because even though they may be with someone else, they're still thinking about you. They feel like, you know, they feel down because they feel like they see your connection as like the Holy Grail. They want this union, they want this relationship with you, but it's almost like they feel taunted. Is that the word? Taunted by the divine. They feel like there's this amazing opportunity to be with you, but they just feel like they can't have it. They can't be with you. They can't come into alignment, you know. Things just aren't working. There's delays, obstacles. that lack of self-love within both of you, you know, just being out of alignment with being able to come into union. And so this person chose another direction, even though they're sad about it. For a long time, they tried to keep your relationship afloat as well. They were trying to juggle things. It was a struggle, emotionally all over the place. This is, to me, is saying that both of you were avoiding, you know, you're turning your back on your own emotional chaos because he's facing away from the stormy seas, and you were both trying to make the relationship grow, or you're trying to keep it in the air, but it was a struggle because you're both avoiding the emotional chaos within yourselves that needed to be looked at, you know. So you were both, I feel like you were both investing in this relationship. You both wanted the union, but you're investing, again, like the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, doing things in the wrong kind of way. Trying to avoid your own individual emotional wounds within yourselves, and trying to instead focus on each other, looking outside of self. So there was a lot of heartbreak. This person felt disillusioned. They felt it's never going to work out. I feel like this person mourned the loss of your relationship before they even told you that they'd made that decision to try and move on, just because it wasn't working out. And then they moved on. And I feel like you only knew that they moved on once they'd already walked away. So I hope this message has resonated with you, and I hope it's been helpful in order to make you understand more deeply. And if it has, then please like, share and subscribe. It really helps me to grow my channel. And if you do subscribe, please tap the bell icon, and that will notify you every time I release a new reading. And if you would like additional readings every single week, which are exclusive to my email subscribers, then please sign up to those by clicking the link below this video. And also please check out my other videos. I have loads about what's going on within your connection, how they feel about you, what's going to happen, and all things like that. So check out my playlists, and thank you so much.